We've got parenting writer and blogger for Multiple Mayhem, Mama Samantha Kemp Jackson. You are all over the place. You're all over the country talking about all the stuff that you feature on your website.
I do.
And in your book. Let's give a plug to the book again.
It's called Meltdown in Aisle 5, and you can get it on Amazon.
It's a great book. Really helpful. Especially for new, what a great gift for new parents, right?
Lots of tips and advice, yes.
Yeah. So today we're going to be talking about social media. And the kids pick that stuff up so fast, and we are always left a little bit behind, aren't we? So we need to inform ourselves on how to keep them safe. What tips are you recommending?
Well, you know, just to understand that our kids are on social media whether we like it or not, and they're on social media, Val, younger and younger. So I say to parents, make sure that you understand the medium that your child is on. So make sure you understand Twitter, you understand YouTube, you understand Facebook, and how it works.
Yeah, I'm still trying to figure Twitter out. But the other two, I'm okay with. And why is it important to understand the medium yourself? Why is it important to know how it works and why people use it?
Well, we can't direct our children adequately if we don't understand what we're dealing with. We've heard of a lot of very unfortunate and sometimes tragic instances of cyberbullying and negative activity with kids online on social media. And a lot of the times, the parents were not aware that their children were even engaging in some of the activities. So I say to parents, understand the medium, but also set the rules of engagement, how the child should be interacting online, because you can do that when you understand what they're doing online.
So by setting the rules of engagement, hey, I don't want to hear you making any kind of bad comments. Is that what you mean?
That, but also if there's a certain social media avenue that you don't want your child to be on, it's perfectly fine to say, I don't want you posting pictures on Facebook, or I don't want you on YouTube without my, overseeing what you're doing online. So I think it's perfectly within reason for parents to set the expectation for their children, especially when the children are younger.
Oh, for sure.
Absolutely.
What's your take on friending your kid, but not as mom, as just as somebody else, so you're able to kind of spy on what they're doing?
Well, I know that it's popular to do so. I don't actually agree with spying per se. I think it's important to let your child know that I will friend you on Facebook and I will follow you on Twitter, but I will do it as myself. And if you're having that open dialogue with your child and they understand and respect you, then there's no need to hide behind a veil.
Okay, all right.
That's
Sounds
just
good.
my personal opinion.
Privacy settings. Now, the people at Facebook irritate me so much because they keep changing their settings.
Yeah.
But the privacy settings are kind of tricky to understand. What do you recommend there?
They are. So I think this goes back to the discussion that you're going to have with your child. Understanding the medium and making sure that you as a parent have read the terms and conditions and the rules of Facebook. And then if you are going to allow your child to go on Facebook or a similar social media outlet, that you set the privacy settings with them. And also to explain to your child that if you put anything online, you have to have that assumption that you're putting it on a billboard for the whole world to see. Even though there are privacy settings, I just assume that people are going to be able to see it. So think twice.
That is so true. And not only today, and your friends seeing it for the next few days, it stays there.
It doesn't go away.
So 1 year from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, the stuff you've posted today could still be out there haunting you, right?
It will be out there, and I think this is the most important salient aspect of what we need to teach our children, is that what we put out there online now, today, is going to come up when you're 30, 40 years old, you're up for a great promotion for a vice presidency, and then somebody Googles you and they see, holy smokes, this person is doing something that's not great online. I don't think it's going to tie in with our corporate reputation, so maybe they won't get the job. I think it's a really important thing for kids to realize.
Well, I realize this all the time when people come in and say, oh, I Googled you, and I didn't know that you did such and such. It's like, well, that was like 20 years ago.
Yes.
And so you forget that the stuff that has already happened is still out there and is fresh information.
It's fresh information.
For people who are looking for that.
And kids, by definition, don't really think, they don't have a sense of mortality or of, forethought or of getting older. They just think about the here and now, but they really have to, we as parents have to teach them that, what you do now is going to affect what you are perceived as later.
Ooh, I hope we can get that message across to them. How do we use this technology to our advantage? Can we?
I think we can. can use it to our advantage. I think that there are many positive things about social media. I mean, I personally love social media and I'm on it a lot, but I think that it's also just knowing how to use it and how to turn it off. So I think that we need to also let our kids know that as great as it is, it's great to turn it off sometimes and show them and lead them by example. So if your child sees you always on your cell phone, always tweeting, always posting things online, they're going to follow suit. So lead by example with your child.
The most obvious, glaring example of that for me happened when my daughter was 2, and we were at the park, and she was climbing the steps to the slide, and she stopped and said, "Hang on a second," and did this. And then kept walking.
Word to the wise, out of the mouths of babes, they follow us.
2 years old. So you're right. If we're staring at our phones all the time, A, it sends the message that we're not paying attention to what's going on in your life, and B, well, okay, so this is what you do when you're with people. You completely ignore them, right?
Exactly.
That's the
we need
lesson.
to lead by example.
How do you do that in your own home?
Well, I am guilty of being distracted by my phone, and my kids have called me on it. So my 10-year-old daughter has said, "Mom, you're looking at your phone and you're not looking at me," and it kind of jars me out.
That's a heartbreaking thing to hear.
It jars me out of my stupor of social media. So I think we really, really need to be mindful of what we're doing because we are teaching our children in terms of how we behave.
Yeah, I mean, social media is your job.
Yes.
And so it'd be hard to turn that off. Do you set time limits, like dinner time is a no phone zone or anything like that?
Absolutely. No phones at dinner, no phones when we're having a discussion or a family talk. And I think that we really need to modify our behavior generally. We're all guilty of it, and I think that as a society we need to kind of step back a little bit within reason.
All right, really good tips. What are you working on next?
Oh, I'm working on more tips and advice and maybe another ebook. Who knows?
Another ebook?
Perhaps.
Yay!
Yay!
Once again, remind us where we can get all these details and where we can hook up with your ebook.
So all of these details can be found on my blog, multiplemayhemmama.com, and my ebook is called Meltdown in Aisle 5, and that's on Amazon.com and Amazon.ca.
And what's great about you is you've lived all this stuff. You're not
lived
preaching
it.
from some high horse. You've been there. It's happened to you. You get it.
I get it. 4 kids. I get it.
4. 2 of them are under the age of 5 still.
Yes, twins.
Oy. MultipleMayhemmMama.com. When we come back, wedding accessories from the Total Wedding Show.